origin as part of a thing of taking photographs of locations of the Easter Rising. So that's why this still exists, you know. But there is a couple of books, like the South Dublin Union is an amazing story. There's a book by a fella called it's Patrick O'Brien. I forget the name of it, but if you Google or whatever, South Dublin Union,
Uncommon
and it's
Valour, I think.
yeah, Uncommon Valour is the name of the book, and it tells it a whole week because, as I said, there was only 100 volunteers that were basically fighting, and plus as well, as I said earlier, the 3,200 staff and patients were still here while the fighting was going on the whole week. So they were all here at the same time, old people, sort of people with mental disabilities and all that, and they were here during all the fighting because it wasn't possible to evacuate them. You had two different groupings of British soldiers. You had the Royal Irish Regiment, who were coming from the barracks across there, and then the Sherwood Foresters came along Rialto, and they assaulted the South Dublin Union from the Rialto Bridge, and they were part of the detachment. Like, they were the same regiment as the regiment that were halted at Clanwilliam House. They were just different companies of the same regiment. But as I say, the fighting for 100 people to be fighting here against 2,500 British soldiers, you know, with as much ammunition as they needed or whatever, was amazing. Like with a couple of the sites here, this and the next site we go to, when they heard news of the surrender here, like, they only surrendered here on the Sunday, and you know, they had to be convinced to actually surrender. Like, most of them didn't want to surrender, you know. So what we do next, as I say, and any time you're in James's Hospital, if you look at the big, where the or where the main hospital is, there's a big building opposite that would have been here as well. So any of the old buildings around, they would have been buildings that were held by the volunteers. And basically each time the British soldiers would take a building, they would evacuate and move to another building, which is what happened to Cathal Brugha. Like, Cathal Brugha was left behind on his own because he told the rest of them, look, yous go on and I'll hold off. When Eamon Cant found out that Brugha had been left on his own to hold back an assault, he got a few of the men together and they went to rescue Cathal Brugha, and that's where they found him, basically slumped somewhere in this courtyard. Now, as I say, there again, it's hard. You would imagine that there'd be something to commemorate it better than, you know, that bit of stone out there, or even people say outside, stand at a bus stop outside James's Hospital, to understand that this was one of the where some of the fiercest fighting actually took place. And like with Clanwilliam House, they inflicted huge casualties on the British soldiers. And for the British soldiers as well, the likes of the Sherwood Foresters, they'd been trained for France, for trench warfare. And, you know, this sort of urban warfare was something that they just couldn't comprehend. They hadn't been trained for, you know. But it shows the sort of bravery for 100 people to march from Dolphin's Barn, from Emerald Square on Cork Street, to march down into here and to take over the place, and knowing the chances are you were going to die that week because, you know, the odds were so much against you. I suppose what's worth noting as well is that company that Eamon Cant had, there should have been about 600 of them. Because of all the confusion, only 100 of them actually showed up. So we're going to go back out the way we came and around into Basin Lane and up to Marrowbone Lane, or up to Marrowbone Lane Distillery.